Popping in, guiding our youth. Hey, good evening. Let's do this. Well, let's see. I gotta be able to share my screen. Maybe make some. Okay, this is good. This is good. Happy. All right, this is good. This is good. Let's go. We live on Facebook. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Mr. Cage, Senior Cage, signing on this evening. Man, I'm looking at this. Okay, I'm looking at the screen because I want to be able to interact with you all. I want this to be a experience for us. My title, our title for tonight is Guiding Our Youth. Let me see if I can get a title on this. Yep, I can. Guiding Our Youth. And I'll tell you fairly quickly how this wasn't something that this wasn't something that I planned to do. Normally on Wednesday night, we have service, Rehoboth International Ministries, 314 Henderson Avenue. Every Wednesday, service normally starts at 7:30. Shout out, salute to my elders and our senior pastors, Apostle Stephen Moffitt and Prophet LaQuinta Moffitt. Blessings. We normally have service Wednesdays, but because of the possible storm for the safety of the people, we decided not to. And I just happened to be listening to some worship music, looking over some notes, getting ready to read some stuff, and I found this, what I'm gonna share with you tonight. This was something that I did years, when I say eons ago, years ago at uh, Pastor Perry's Pastor Perry's church off site off on the east side off of Gardner Street. Glory Harvest International. Yeah, shout out to them too. So let's do this. I don't know how long this gonna be. I couldn't even tell you. I can tell you this though. I can tell you this that if you work with youth in any capacity, if you got kids, whether they biological kids, non-biological, if you got nieces and nephews, and some of the stuff, the conversation that we'll share tonight is applicable for us as adults. I'll probably try to break this up into two parts. I don't know what's going to happen as we start going into this conversation, but hopefully we'll go somewhere. I see two people who have jumped on. Hopefully I can get some interaction with you. Let me see. I don't know how that's gonna go. I don't know how that's gonna go either. Let's see real fast because I don't think I can see. I hate when we do these things and I can't see the interaction with people. Excuse me, that bothers me. Guy in our youth. Hey, real talk, man. Just take note. There's gonna be some amazing stuff shared, and I'm gonna just all I can do is be me. And too many times, y'all, especially my educators, man, can I make this statement before we go into this conversation? Too many times, my fellow educators, man, we believe we know what we know. We believe that we can't be taught anything. Some of us, we believe that we can't be taught anything past the master's degree and the PhD. You all, please hear me. That is a lie. The system that we go into to get the schooling, that system is limited. It's a lot of theory, it's a lot of methods, it's a lot of strategy, it's a lot of information. But we gotta remember where it comes from and who is coming through. Who is coming through, this is a mystery. Who is coming through makes what's being shared limited. If you've got any questions about that statement, inbox me or put it in the comment section because I'm going to take this off Facebook. I'm going to download it and put it on our YouTube page. All right. Okay. I see you, Mr. Robinson. Thank you, sir. Yeah, man, I appreciate the setup. I appreciate that compliment. It's that black background that helps us out. All right, guy and our youth. So I made that statement. Let me get away from that. Let me get away from that. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily bother me, but we gotta be we don't know sometime. So it's all good. I'm trying to I'm trying to see if I can share my screen. Oh yeah, I can share my screen. It's about to get ugly out here. Uh, from the beginning. From the beginning. So I am gonna be reading some scriptures. Reason being is because in scriptures, whatever your opinion or perspective is about it, there are principles embedded in the scriptures. Please believe me. I'll say this, and this is what our pastor shared with us long ago, and I'm going to remix it because this is what he shared. He shared, and when I say man, I'm speaking about male or female. He shared with us a powerful truth. Truth. A man with an experience is never at the mercy of a man with a debate. A man with an experience is never at the mercy of a man with a debate. What came to me years ago was a man with an experience in God or in the Holy Spirit is never at the mercy of a man with a debate, meaning without God and without the Holy Spirit. So I've had entirely too many God encounters in this life that I've been given. They're not up for debate because it just is what it is. So I don't invest time in debating with people over their opinions or perspectives. That's just a waste of time for me. I say that because there are principles embedded in the scripture, and it takes the Holy Spirit to blow on the written word so it can transform into a living word. This is why I came with the statement as far as with my educators and saying that the PhD and the master's degree is a cap. It's a cap. And our mindset, we believe that that's it. It's not. It's not because is the information that we get is in the natural, and everything in the natural has definition. You know what I'm saying? Everything in the natural has definition. It has a beginning and an end, but it is not the beginning and the end. I ain't talking in riddles. I'm speaking in mysteries. Trust me. But I'm not trying to go that hard in the paint. Let's go, guy in our youth. Adam, where art thou? Let me stop this share, and then I'm gonna share. I'm gonna share in context before I read that. And this is tremendously important. And you'll see why in a second. Hold on. Brother got a lot going on. Let's see. All right, let me go back. Now I should be able to share mine. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. All right. I want to see if I can make myself a little bigger. I'm taking my time tonight. Get some popcorn or something, you know. Get you some popcorn. Ah, the famous fall of man. Human, human race, mankind. The question is, where did man fall from? Because if we are talking about a fall, that means that I had to be standing upright. I'm just gonna read Genesis 3, 1 to 5. This is in the Amplified. And for those you who I'm assuming that everybody knows what the Amplified is. But if not, it's just another version of the writing of the word. Let's read. Now the serpent was more crafty, subtle, skilled in deceit. Talk about that. Than any living creature of the field, which the Lord God had made. Got a lot to share. And the serpent, representative of Satan, said to the woman, can it really be that God has said, you shall not eat from any tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat from the trees of the garden, except the fruit from the tree which is in the middle of the garden. God said, you shall not eat from it nor touch it, otherwise you will die. Ugh. Spiritually, not naturally. As far as our perception, our spiritual awareness, our God consciousness was put on pause when this occurred. Because when one person fell, it represented the whole entire mankind falling. We have poverty and violence and these trepidations, I would call them. But the serpent said to the woman, you certainly will not die, for God knows that on the day you eat from it, your eyes will be open. That is, you will have greater awareness. Yeah. And you will be like, God knows the difference between good and evil. All right, I had to give you that. All right, let's do another share. We're going back to the information. Yeah. Let me see. Let me see where we at. All right. Let's see. I'm ready to see none of the people, but it's all good. Let's go. Uh, Adam, you have forsaken me. You have left my presence. So in that context, it wasn't as though God didn't know where Adam was. God is God. God is omnipresent. God is everywhere. Let me relate this to our kids. If you are a mother or father watching this, I want you to type the number 1 just to engage you. But I want you to think about this. And I'm going to stop my share as I give you the statement. As a parent, as a mother or father, you know your son and daughter in and out. You know their behavior. You know the expressions on their face. You know when they're mad. You know when they're happy. You know all these things. Why? Because the child is a fruit of your loins. And if you are in the same household with that child, or sometimes if you're not, you've spent so much time with this person that you know the person like the back of your hand, as we say clichely. When your son or daughter is doing something, you already really know because that person is a part of you and you spend time with them. Making a parallel to Adam, it wasn't as though God didn't know where he was at. God possibly was saying that to hold him accountable. Like, where are you? Whoa, where am I? You know, the question should have been to him, where am I? He not asking me where I'm at because he don't know. He asking me for accountability purposes. Something to think about. Moving forward. Yeah, and that's why we tell our kids, man, you ain't really done nothing that we ain't done. It's the same game, different players. It's the same game, different players. You may have a couple of new tools that we're not aware of, but same game, different players. All right, exactly the best way to view that. Yeah, yeah. And I tell you, Mr. Robinson, if we look, if we look at God through the eyes of a parent, we'll get more clarity. We'll get more clarity about our relationship with Him and our relationship with others. Real talk. All right, move forward. Here we go. Check it out. So Adam heard God calling him through a state of sin consciousness because he chose to follow the voice of a stranger. Who was the voice of the stranger in that aspect? It was Satan, symbolic of the serpent, symbolic really of the angel of light. That's a little bit more, that's a little bit deeper, but we'll just keep it on the surface and say when I'm sin conscious, and I just use Mr. Robinson since he's on. He'll say cage. Oh, I got a better example. When I used to teach every day, whether it was at the Job Corps, whether it was Joliet Township, I'm the person that will always pull you out of the class and talk with you in the hallway. If I see you kind of going left, or I notice that your facial expression is different, or maybe I can sense something, I'll say, hey, do me a favor. Let's step out for 1 second. And most times when that used to happen, when the students didn't necessarily know me or they wasn't accustomed to it, the first question they asked me was what? What I do, what I do wrong. That is sin consciousness. And when people call us out or want to talk, if the first thought is, man, what I do, that is the state of sin consciousness. And that's the state of mind that many people find themselves in, whether they are aware of it or unaware of it. Sin consciousness will always have us in the realm of works, attempting to prove ourselves to get validation and affirmation from people, which are external. We always trying to get weird, and what I'm trying to say is when a person is sync conscious, they always have to prove something to people for validation, acknowledgement, recognition. You know, yeah. So I'm still keeping it. I'm still keeping it funky to a certain extent. We're talking about guiding youth, and I want to give you these master keys to help you with your sons or daughters, or if you're working with youth, you may be a teacher, whatever capacity that you work in with youth. Then there's a lot of probably youth camps going on in the summertime. This is monumental stuff because I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth. I'm just trying to set it up to help us understand why certain behaviors or why we have certain experiences with our kids. So check it out. This is a key point. To guide, we must follow. But to follow, we must be open to being led by the Spirit of God and others who are being led by the Spirit of God. I'm going to tell you why. We guide youth in the direction of truth by walking in the cool of the day in the Spirit of God. Attempting to guide youth without the Spirit of God will lead a youth to adultery. And adultery manifests in the form of limitation. All day, every day. I got a plethora of examples that I can share with you from my life, from me transitioning from street into where I'm at now, and all the experience that I had in my life, and also the experience that I've had with many youth over the years. I'm gonna repeat this. I need to go back to the other slide because this is key stuff. So to guide, we must follow. Who? We must follow. We must be open to being led by the Spirit of God and others who are being led by the Spirit of God. If not, we're going to go into limitation. We're going to go into idol worship. We're going to begin to worship. I'm going to share this statement with you. This hot off the press. Let me see. Yeah, I'm just being natural today. You notice that when I'm doing lives, it's not like trying to be professional performer. It's a real conversation that I would have with somebody if I was standing outside. This is to my point. God created man, male and female. Man makes. Man takes someone. Man takes someone or something God created by himself, in himself, and for himself, and makes someone or something in their own image and likeness. Sometimes we stagger. Stagger means to waver in unbelief because we become distracted by what God makes. I'm sorry, by what man makes. We become distracted by what man makes rather than being focused on what God created. So we don't necessarily create, we make. Because when you make, you have the ingredients already there. God creates because he created something or someone out of nothing. But what occurs with us is that we get focused on what man makes and it turns into idol worship, which causes us to get off track, to waver or stagger instead of focusing on what God created. Yeah, I think that thought came to me, I think last week. I'm just been meditating on it. Yeah. So when we guide youth in the direction of truth by walking in the cool of the day, Spirit of God. Attempt to guide youth without the Spirit of God will lead to idolatry. The deception is that, let's say, if I lead youth into an awesome career where they're making 100,000, 120,000, 150,000 a year, we believe that that person is successful. Yeah, that person is successful according to worldly standards, but that career that that person may have may be idol worship, especially if the family, the household is deteriorating because that person's presence is not there and that presence is not being felt, especially when a person was a man. Here we go. I ain't gonna make this too heavy. Let me see what our time look. Ooh, can you post the Zoom link? Oh man, I don't even know, my brother. I don't even know. Let me see. I'm just trying to see how many minutes because I ain't trying to be long. Oh, brother, I don't even know. Let me come back. Okay, man, that's been like 20 minutes. That's wild. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it on. I'm gonna leave it on. I'm gonna leave it here for a little bit on Facebook. Then I'm gonna transition it to YouTube. James 1:22 of James chapter 1, verse 22, 25. Berean Study Bible. Here we go. Let me move this down a little bit. Be doers of the word and not hearers only. Hey, y'all, let me say this too. Don't click off because I ain't being professional. This is just real conversation. Too many times we try to be super professional and the authenticity of what we want to say suffers because we trying to be perfect. That's not what I'm doing today. So let me reread this over. Be doers of the word and not hearers only. Otherwise, you are deceiving yourselves. So what that means is that if I hear the word, or if I hear a redirection, guidance, correction, advice, or counsel from somebody, and I choose not to do it, I hear it and not do it, then I'm deceiving myself. Which I think that it's going to be an outcome from what they told me, but it's never an outcome from what they told me unless I do what the person said. For anyone who hears the word but does not carry it out is like a man who looks at his face in the mirror. 24, and after observing himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks But the one who looks intently into the perfect law of freedom and continues to do so, not being a forgetful hearer, but an effective doer, he will be blessed in what he does. What does that mean? If I get the word and I don't apply it, then I'm gonna forget who I am, and I'm gonna eventually get off track. But if I take heed to it and listen and apply it, and it continues to manifest in my life, then whatever I do, I'll be blessed. That's why it's important. And that's also too, people walk in hypocrisy. Ah man, can I blast this out there? Take a deep breath. Some of us are following too many people on social media. Let me stop my share. I need to stop my share before I make this statement. Let me see. Let me go back. I'm trying to get. Let me stop my share. This is what I would say to us. And this is not me being a hater. I'm just being real because I love you. Too many of us are following people on social media specifically who are not living what they're saying. Too many of us are following people on social media who people are they talking a good game, but if you spend time with them on a consistent basis and they in the game of life, they don't know what to do. Yeah, I just wanted to share that because we talking about being a hearer and a doer, and there's going to be some other conversations I'm gonna share with you all as we go into this next. I think out of all these slides that you may see, this may be one of the most important pieces. We teach our sons how to become men of God through conversation and the demonstration of the conversation we have with them. We teach our daughters how to receive from and what to expect from men of God through conversation and the demonstration of the conversation we have with them. In both cases, my son and my daughter, my son will learn how to become a man of God specifically through the conversation and the demonstration of the conversation I have. So we're going to have this conversation, and you're going to see me walk this conversation out consistently in my lifestyle. Same with my daughter. What that brings to our kids is expectations. That brings expectations. So my son will not settle. My son will not settle for less than being what's been modeled to him. My daughter, both prayerfully in both situations, she won't settle for a man who is reflecting and doing less than her dad did. I had a conversation with one of my daughters last week, and I told her that it was kind of around the Father's Day situation, and she said basically that she had great examples, various dads in her life and father figures in her life. She has great examples around her, and what I told her was that that's good, that's amazing, but when that person chooses you and you accept the choice, you can look at that person's life based on the internal characteristics that we reflected to you. So you may be attracted to the person on the outside, but going deeper, I said to her, you should see some of the characteristics that we reflected to you in that person. Yep. Moving forward. What is God? Oh, let me see. I'm trying to see who's anybody get any thoughts or questions, put it in the chat. Nah, I'm always on the chats. I'm sorry, in the comment section. I'm gonna give a sec, then we gonna move forward. What is guidance? What is guidance? What is guidance? In summary, as we go into this next section, I'm summarizing this because it's important before we transition. As adults, in whatever capacity, stop my share so I can make this statement. As adults, man, as adults, in whatever capacity that we find ourselves in, whether it's a parent, whether it's a grandparent, whether it's an uncle, whether it's an auntie, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a coach, whether it's a principal, assistant principal, what have you, our interactions with young people, for us to lead them and lead them in the direction of maximizing their full potential in all areas of life, we have to be led by the Spirit of God. If we are not led by the Spirit of God, we will not lead them to maximizing their full potential. We won't. We will lead them to we will lead them to idolatry, which is going to be limited. But because it's an illusion and America culture is saturated in capitalism, the young people will think that I've maximized my full potential because I have material things. You can have material things, but material things that also have you. That's something to think about. But also, too, I would say to us as well, I'm just giving this, I'm just giving, I'm kind of sounding the trumpet and bringing more awareness to as we guide youth. But I would say this, that sometimes in situations, it's just meant for me to get them to this point. I can't say that everybody's going to be led by the Spirit of God. So maybe that person, that adult that they encounter is supposed to lead them to a specific phase or stage in their life. Who knows? But that's something to think about. Because and I say this to the adults that's watching, people that's going to be watching, and, later, I like to say their future, my past. When you live by the Spirit of God, you're going to maximize your full potential, but you got to give up everything you got to give up everything that you've been taught. That's real talk. Let's move forward. What is guidance? What is guidance? I don't know if I'm able to get through all of this, y'all. Guidance is direction, instruction, coaching that motivates us and holds us accountable to our God-given purpose and destiny. People nowadays have a hard time being held accountable. They have a harder time being held to a God-given purpose and destiny because, as I mentioned before, when you held accountable to your God-given purpose, the reason why you're here, your destiny, where your life is going based on why you're here, you have to give up everything. And people, because we deal a lot of times in a natural, from a psychological standpoint and all the allergies, it's difficult to give up because my mind, the illusion is this is who I am. Man, it is. I want to see if I can share this statement with y'all. Let me see. This is gonna be heavy. Let me share this. And this is kind of a preview of something that I'm gonna teach at a later time in life. But I'll read this to you. Before we were wrapped in human flesh, which is made up of age, gender, ethnicity, city and state, income, education, email addresses, occupation, family structure, relationship status, whether single, married, or divorced. We were in God. These aspects of our identity are connectors to humanity, not limitations to our divinity or our destiny. They are merely means to an end, the end or desired goal being a manifestation of God's presence through Jesus in the earth. Man, please feel that. Because once we come to that understanding in the Spirit of God, what we've accumulated it won't limit us any longer. My brothers and sisters, moving forward. We're going hard today. When do you know that you need guidance? I want you to answer that question. Those people that are watching this in the future, which is my past, when do you know that you need guidance? When do you know? When do you know that you want guidance? When do you know when you need guidance, and when do you know that you want guidance? When I'm saying guidance, I'm not talking specifically from the Holy Spirit. I'm talking specifically from a person. Let's see. I can't even see this, y'all. But this is in my way. Let me see if I can look at it on the other space. Okay. I'm gonna pull this little stunt. I'm gonna pull this little stunt and I'm gonna read this. Here we go. Here it is. We may not we may not feel as though we want or need guidance, advice, counsel from others because a problem has yet to surface. But a problem that lies dormant is still a problem. Truly, we are always in want and need of guidance and direction for people who've been where we are in our present and where we are trying to go in the future, whether it be spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, and financially. And that's the illusion that we don't believe, because belief is a strong word. We don't believe that there's a problem because it lies dormant, but it's still a problem. You just have to get in the right environment. And in most cases, the right environment is an environment that's outside of your control. So that's when the problem itself surfaces. When I'm in an environment that's outside of my control or outside of my comfort zone. And what is the problem? Drum roll for me, please. The problem is my mentality. See, my mentality in comparison to God's mentality is a conflict of interest. When I'm in an experience or a situation that's outside of my control or my sense of safety, it will manifest itself in dysfunction. What it's really letting me know is that God is asking me or showing me that mentality that you have, Cage, or that mindset that you have is not going to allow you to get to the next phase in this journey that I've created for you. Cage, the best thing for you, and I'm your parent, Father God, let's do an exchange. You humbly submit that to me, and I'm going to give you the thoughts that I have towards you to get you to that end. Is the word that comes before that. And so anytime that this is a key note, y'all. And people that are in business, whether it's a proper or not for profit, you need a coach. Man, people that are solopreneurs, you need assistance. You need a team. Because anytime we're trying to go to a place we've never been before, we are going to need guidance. In the era of technology, in the era of the information age, we don't believe collectively as a consensus that we need guidance, y'all. This is my slang. We be trying to get guidance from the internet. We be trying to go to the podcast. We're attempting to replace personal wisdom. The Bible talks about being a thief and a robber, and a thief and a robbers come up another way. That's what's really taking place. We're really shortchanging ourselves because we can get so much information, from the media, from the internet, social media, podcasts, and stuff that we don't believe that we should go to people and ask questions. That's sad. We gotta get away from that. Usually problems. So what I'm not saying is that you can't get information from them, but you just got to be careful. Usually, problems in our lives surface because the need for guidance and direction has been left unfulfilled. Ugh. When we feel as though we don't want or need guidance, advice, or counsel, excuse me, this is a sign of an independent spirit. We become our own God. Idolatry. Check it out. So I can talk about this. Usually, when problems in our lives surface, is because guidance and direction has been left unfulfilled. So when we feel as though, and this is me talking to our kids, because our kids believe they know stuff that they don't know. See, there's two different knows, y'all. Share this with your kids, whether it's your students or nephews or sons or daughters, whatever. It's two types of no's. It's a no, it's an informational no and an experiential no. So what I'm saying, I'm not saying that our kids don't know stuff because they've experienced life, but they don't know. I hate to do comparison, but I have to in this example. They don't know more than we know. And I tell students all the time, I'm 45. I run across students and I kind of like to obliterate that mentality before I start trying to impart and teach them. I'll say to them, well, what's your age, brother? You what? You 15. Man, what's 15 times 3? 45? Yeah, I'm 45. So you have to add 30 to get to me. You've been on the earth for 15 years. And I'm not minimizing your time, your existence on earth. What I'm saying is that I got 30. So you probably need to listen because I'd have made more mistakes than you. You know what I'm saying? I've made more mistakes than you. So what happens with our kids, especially now in the information age, is that they believe that they know stuff. Yeah, you do intellectually and from an information standpoint, but your pops, your mom got the experience. You need to listen to them. But what happens is that, again, because our value system is rooted in capitalism, we had a tendency to look at what a person doesn't have to validate us asking them questions or not. That's in complete error. Please believe it. It's in complete error. It's a complete error. I can't just look at what a person has to justify me asking them a question. But that's when you deal in the natural. And some people get the word I want to use is streamlined. Some of us get streamlined because we identify success by material things only. Oh, I wanted to touch on this. Independent spirit become our own God. So that's what took place in the portrayal in the garden. It was really a individual that was created in the image and likeness of God, therefore dependent on God, decided to become independent and became his or her own God, which is again idolatry, which equates to limitation, restriction, frustration. Trust me, I done been there before. True or false? Men, saved or unsaved, normally go to other men when they are in need of something. And this is according to our value system. True. Men saved or unsaved normally go to other men when they want to need or in need of something. What we value is what is important to us, and we will listen to anyone or anything that agrees with what we value. This is why I know I keep saying this is why, but real talk. This is why platforms, social media platforms are very deceptive and well, they can be, because I don't want to be negative. Social media platforms can be very dangerous and deceptive and can send us off because I can have an erroneous thought, erroneous concept, and I can put it on social media and somebody will agree with my thought. Somebody will agree with my side of the story. Somebody will agree if I put up something like a messy reel, if I get 10,000 views, then conditionally, psychologically, that's the likelihood of me producing that same content is gonna increase because I got agreement from the people. And I mentioned in one of the reels that I posted, some people would rather be famous than impactful. And I also said that there are people that are famous, but they're impactful in the wrong way, and that's just real. Moving forward, we almost done. So this is the key to guiding youth. Here we go. What do teenage boys value the most? I want you to think about that. What do these young men value the most? And this is just generally speaking. It's really no ethnicity connected to it. This is just me observing youth in general. So teen boys, they value sports, relationships, shoes, fighting clothes, music, electronics, video games, food, and money in no particular order. So this is the master key. What are some examples where your son, grandson, nephew, mentee, etc., wanted or needed something from you? Then I shared these three examples. Your younger brother Nate need to borrow some money so he can get his car out the pound. Your son Joey wants to go to the YMCA. He needs a ride. Your mentee Ernest is having problems in his relationship. He wants to talk about it. So these are all considered as needs. So understanding why this is the master key to guide, one of the master keys to guiding you outside of being led by the Spirit of God, outside of me as a mentor, as a teacher, as a trainer, having people who have been where I've been and going where I want to go, me being submitted to them. Because you really cannot, trust me, y'all, real talk. This may strike you, it don't matter. You cannot effectively mentor, teach, coach, parent, and not be taught, coached, mentored, and parented by somebody else who has been where you've been and has gone where you desire to go. Spiritually, mentally, socially, financially, emotionally. Real talk. You can't effectively do it because our methods, our strategies, our practices are limited to our experience. So when I tap into somebody else, they may have a similar experience, but they may also have a different experience that can add value to what I need in my life, and I can share it, with my child. I've experienced that before where we had difficulties with our son, and our strategy was this. And I mentioned it to an OG, right? And the OG said, she started laughing like, hey, don't do that. She said, try this. And I said, you know what? That's why I love the elders. And she gave me some advice and it was implemented and it worked. So understand, but this is the closeout. Understanding why you value what they value is another key to guidance. So it's important to find out what that person's values, what's important to them. You do that by asking questions. So here we go. Practicality. 4 steps we can take to guide our youth in a positive direction. Number 1, form a common ground. Learn a person's story, history, and experience. When I meet young people, well, if I'm in a high school capacity, middle school capacity, wherever, I'm trying to learn their story because I am intrigued by people's story. But it also helps me. Understand it. So I'm not trying to evaluate, assess why they do what they do or why they say what they said. That's not what I'm trying. That's not my goal. My goal is really to learn a person in a genuine and authentic way. And in that approach, it's going to build trust. And you notice when I do videos, whether it's I'm at a panel or we facilitate potential or I'm doing something similar to this, I ain't sharing their stories. You feel me? I don't share I don't share what my sons and daughters or students come and tell me on the platform. That's like messy. Now, if I have my own experience, if I'm speaking on my story, this is a wisdom key. I can share my story with you, my experience with you, but I can't share theirs in these type of settings, these platforms, because that's illegal. That can break trust because one of them can see it and be like, "Oh man, he talking about me." And then when they see it, that's going to break trust because You threw my stuff out there. That was a situation that took place between you and I. So I choose not to do that. Know the child. Discover the various, I would add gifts, because gifts and talents are different. Gifts are given by God. Talents are stuff that you're good at, which you can improve. Aspirations and motivations. And as you get to know the person's story, you will find that out. Define a goal. Identify needs of the child parallel to community concerns. Look for opportunities beneficial to the growth and development of the child. So when you see a gap in the community, you can pair that young person with that gap. There's some programs going on in Joliet that I heard of that is really filling a gap. So we identify the needs of the child parallel to community concerns. That turns into a mutually beneficial relationship when you have programming in a specific community that need that's those spaces to be filled, and you can identify young people who they have a need to generate income, right? But they also have a need to kind of discover their career pathway, and that's going to come through, I always say, exposure, experience, exploration is one E that I forgot, but just know that it's going to come through exposure, experience, and educate too. But I'm not trying to bring the four E's out right now. So know your own story and your skill set. Commit to the growth and development of yourself and the child. Now you gotta know your story. And I'll say this, your story shouldn't be making you cry. Because sometimes we're not healed, from the past. And then when we go into it, I'm not saying that emotions don't come, but I'm saying that when I tell you my story, and I'm gonna give you this master key because it's only one more slide connected to this, I think. Oh yeah, I think it's only one more. Yeah, here we go. So I won't even stop to share. But when I share my story and my experience, is really not mine, because the person that I used to be is not the person that I am today, and the person that I am today was not going to be the person I will be tomorrow. So there may be some emotion associated with it, but the emotion is not so overwhelming where I'm telling you the story and I'm just breaking down into tears uncontrollably. There may be a tear that come here and there, but because I'm narrating an experience that I had before I met God, that experience at the time was valid, but I've learned the lesson through the classroom of experience and the teacher being God. So it don't have to be like over the top, you know? So lastly, uh-oh, I just heard a ding. Let's see what we got. Oh, okay. Lastly, ask questions about the youth without being judgmental with your facial expressions and verbal responses. I learned this at Job Corps. I did Job Corps. I was there from 2011 to 2016, as you probably already know, and I volunteered for 5 months. But as a rookie, as a novice, when I got there, what was taking place was students was coming and sharing stuff with me, and my facial expression was telling off on me that I was being judgmental and critical in a negative sense. Because you can be judgmental and it don't be negative, but in this aspect, I was assessing and evaluating their experience, and because it was embedded in me, my facial expression came to the surface before I could say something. And my students would say, "Man, Mr. Cage, man, I ain't coming to tell you nothing." And I said, "Why?" "Because your face, man, be looking crazy." So I had to make that adjustment, internally. And how did I do it? It got highlighted. I brought to the Spirit of God, prayer, meditation, word, and then eventually I was free from that. When they used to tell me stuff as I got free, it was just like this. Oh, really? Okay. And it let them be more open, to share whatever their struggles was. And it wasn't always struggles. It just could have been just random stuff, but minor things. But it was a awesome experience learning and growing with my students. But I'm gonna see. Let's see what do we have? We had comments, questions. Let me see. Yeah, we finished it out, man. Feedback, questions, or comments. I'll give a minute or two to see because I'm looking at the other screen to see how y'all responding out there. I'm gonna leave this up too for a little bit. Yeah, let's see. We'll come back in a second and just kind of really summarize this. Yeah, I really want to summarize this and just share the most important, to me, the most important part of this conversation was, I'm going to reshare and go back to that slide. Let me see. Escape. I don't know if I can get back to it the way I like to. But the most important part of tonight's discussion was these two slides here. I'm gonna do a reshare. Ain't gonna talk about them too much, but I do wanna, if the word is called re-highlight, I do wanna re-highlight these things. Yeah, y'all. Real talk. Hey, this is real talk, man. No, it took me back. Let's go back. I need to re-highlight these or highlight these again, however you want to say it. And let's see. I'm just giving time to see if anybody puts something in the comment section. If not, we will close this out very shortly. Let's see. Yep. Two PowerPoints I want to summarize. This is for us as adults to guide. We must follow. So now you got to ask yourself, who and what am I following? And who and what is taking me where? This is a real conversation. To follow, we must be open to being led by the Spirit of God and others who are being led by the Spirit of God. It's tragic because some people don't have that revelation yet. Various people. And our kids, as I mentioned before, they listen to what we say, but they follow what we do. So it's extremely important to be led by the Spirit of God. Because we say that we love our kids. I'm going to talk about this in a second. We guide youth in the direction of truth by walking in the cool of the day, which is the Spirit of God. Attempting to guide youth without the Spirit of God will lead a youth to idolatry, idol worship. So this is going to be a little touchy, but I need to make this statement, well, series of statements before we sign out. Yep. I need to make this statement before we sign out. We say, we say that we love our kids. We say that we love our children. But my question is, do we love our lives more than we love them? Because if I love my life more, then I can say that I love my child. I can say that I would do anything for them. But that anything, there is some restrictions on that anything. Will you give up the life that you have been living and sacrifice to live the life that God has called you to live, to be a model and example for them? That's my question that I would leave you with. A strong statement to you. A strong question is, The statement of comment is that we say that we love our kids. We say that we will do anything for them. But will we give up the lives that we've been living to live the life that God has called us to live to be an example to them? This may be controversial, but even if I am giving up my life for them, I'm missing it because they are creations of God. And if I give up my life primarily for my kids, then that can become idol worship. The best, most excellent route and way is to give up the life that we've been living for God. And if we go that route, our kids will reap the benefits of that sacrifice. This was God in our youth. Let me know what your feedback was, comments, questions. You want to connect, you can put that in the comment section as well, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. Let me know how we can help. Let me know your thoughts, feedback, or questions. All right, y'all, we'll talk soon.